Overwatch. Do you guys want to do an Overwatch segment? Let's do an Overwatch segment, actually, unironically. I don't really play Overwatch, but like this is very disappointing that they're not going to do PvE, because I was kind of looking forward to like trying the PvE. And I don't like Blizzard because they stink. I want to like World of Warcraft. I used to love it, but I just can't get into it. Classic is cool, but like it's too much of a grind. And then there are some elements of the modern day WoW that are cool, like the smaller raid sizes and stuff, but it's just so boring. I don't like the dynamic. There's too many buttons. I'm an old boomer, and I know you're saying like, oh, you're old. I used to play mythic level raiding back in Legion when it was actually fun, but I just don't feel like getting carpal tunnel. I'm 33. My hands hurt, and you can play with a controller though. That is cool. But like, oh, I don't know. Do something new, Blizzard. Plus, it's annoying when you go to a new expansion. All the previous expansion content is completely irrelevant. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Whatever. Let's just watch this. Where's the video? I just had a video on the screen. Oh my god. Oh my god.
It looked up data for
what is happening here. I don't even know what I did with it. Right here. Let's go.
The Play Overwatch Twitch channel just released the biggest Overwatch 2 news drop of the year, and it's going to disappoint a lot of you. The endlessly replayable PvE experience that they have talked about so many different times seems to be fully scrapped. Aaron Keller and Jared Ness came onto the live stream apologetic, saying that the PvP experience that they have been dedicating more time to takes up too much time, it seems, so much so that the scale of the PvE they originally envisioned is gone completely. However,
so what was the point then? Like, what was the point of Overwatch 2? Because I was playing that a little bit. It's kind of fun, I mean, but like it's not really any different from Overwatch 1, except you can only play one tank instead of two, which seems to be kind of weird for the tank dynamic. I get it. It's so the matches are quicker, I think, because there's less like stonewalling, but that's it. I know the more loot boxes, which I kind of liked, and then a weird battle pass, which I don't like, but
saying that we do see the new seasonal roadmap to know what we are actually getting. Instead, the PvE is going to be split up into story missions, where Season 6, which is 2 seasons away, mind you, we will finally be getting our first version of that. If you're
what the fuck is a story mission?
Remember, way back when with the Kotaku leaks, the PvE for Overwatch 2 was rumored to be like Left 4 Dead gameplay. Then
that sounds cool. Left 4 Dead is incredible. Like the game, Left 4 Dead's awesome. I mean, they still is pretty good if you ever go back to it and try it out. I used to play the PvE a lot. I used to play the PvP a lot because you could play like the hunter and stuff and all the boomers, and so I loved the boomer because I'm fat and a boomer.
Over BlizzCon and BlizzCon Line, they explained that there's going to be endlessly replayable missions, which would require them to have RPG systems that it seems like they're not going to be able to execute on. In a way, this is a downside, but it might be much more reasonable to expect that, because how do you have an RPG game with Overwatch heroes feel replayable without gear? Because you want your heroes to have their unique playstyles. I always felt there was a bit...
The game just has to be fun. It would be cool if you could do the PvE and then you could also still push the battle pass. That makes the most sense to me.
Of a tension between those ideas. So while this seems disappointing, this product sounds like it could be good, whereas the other one, we haven't played a good version of it. In fact, when myself and many other creators got the chance to play the Overwatch 2 PvE originally many years ago, I think it was 2019, we were like, okay, but picking up different types of grenades and whatnot, it just wasn't it.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, I don't know what this PvE roadmap thing that they're doing is. The Witch was scary. I don't know, dude. This is just so much non-delivering on a product, because it sounds like the way that this person, your Overwatch, is framing it is that, oh, maybe this is a good thing because we played the beta of PvE back in 2019 and it was kind of blah. But I don't have that kind of good intentions for Blizzard. I feel like Blizzard's just like, oh, we want to make a lot of money and we're putting too much time into stuff that we don't think will make us money. Let's not put too much time into this thing. And it's like, what happened to making calculated risks? What happened to having your nose on the fucking dial and knowing what your audience wanted out of you? Like, that was cool. Now they don't do no dick about shit. And it's just kind of annoying.
Whereas with these story missions, they can actually allow you to experience an actual story, and it can go back to the fundamentals similar to Left 4 Dead. There's not necessarily big RPG mechanics there, and it's still somewhat replayable. Potentially very replayable if you want to go for high scores and stuff. What Jared did say, they do have very cool enemy types and hero talents, but it's just not going to be that endlessly replayable game. Instead, the
they were going to make a skill tree for every hero. That's why they scrapped it then, because they didn't want to put too much energy and effort into thinking intelligently.
Going to be co-op in nature, which gives them the opportunity to produce missions more often with more variety. Okay, so that's the big major bombshell. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the roadmap. Despite that bad news, there's a lot of good news for PvP players, because that's the thing they feel like they know how to do and are giving us much more of. In Season 5, we're going to be getting a 5v5 mini-comp season. I assume that means team queue, as in like full 5-man teams, because we already have 5v5, right, with random players. The On Fire system's returning, and there's going to be a creator workshop mode, which I assume...
Right, but... what is it? A campaign or like a new game mode? Also, why do people want PvE? I feel like Overwatch is perfect PvP game. Yeah, I mean, it's all right PvP wise. It's fun. I think that this because they promised PvE. Fortnite has a PvE system, and I think people like it a decent amount. And they said this. My understanding was the reason that they did the whole remake and make it Overwatch 2 in the first place. It was because it was a PvE for the PvE was like a big focus of it. And they promised that, and then they never delivered on it. I feel like that's what it comes down to. I don't know. I fucking like Blizzard doesn't really deserve any charity in my opinion.
Is a featured creator workshop mode. Summer Games, a cinematic, and it seems like the theme is mischief and magic. So similar to Star Watch, Season 5 will be a fantasy setting. And now
I think maybe it's just mischief and magic or mischief, like a girl chief. So woke, am I right?
We get Quest Watch, which I'm not too excited for, since Star Watch was quite a disappointment for me, and it seems like my worry about that mode and the underdevelopment of PvE mechanics is kind of
T42 has pretty good PvE and PvP, just no support. Do they have a PvE mode? That's interesting.
Shaping up. I love it.
What is PvE? It's player versus environment. So like they would have like NPCs fighting you and stuff.
Fantasy setting, and the setting and lore and characters, voice lines, all of that, skins was great for Star Watch, but I sure hope Quest Watch is more interesting than just a repurposed map for a mode that was so bad they had to remove it. Jared said that Season 6 is their biggest release ever for Overwatch 2. There's a new support hero, again, the co-op mission, story missions, but also hero
Why so many new support heroes?
Mastery missions, which will test your skills on a given hero, especially optimizing for things like aim. You'll be able to get high scores in this, and what I imagine is something like Doomfist parkour, but to the extreme level for different characters. You know, that was kind of specialized for him as a workshop mode. Well, I think it's pretty reasonable to say that they could make a more advanced version of that really highlights different heroes' powers. Flashpoint is also a new game mode. I'm curious to know if they're going to remove one of them from competitive rotation. Does push get rotated out in Season 6? I don't know. They also didn't explain what Flashpoint is, but it sounds like, well, Flash is quick, and point is a capture point, obviously. My best guess would be it would be something like Hardpoint from Call of Duty, which I actually think would be an amazing Overwatch mode, as long as the spawn system isn't too bad. Season 6, there's...
How are people feeling about the server crash or whatever of Diablo 4? Because I played it the other day, and I just wasn't, like, impressed. I mean, I'm not a Diablo player, but it just wasn't feeling very fun to me. Also, it's kind of weird because they just released their stupid mobile version like 6 months or a year ago. That was just pure for a pure money grab. They seem to just piss their audience off constantly. It doesn't matter what game comes to Overwatch, they just don't deliver on what they promised. They decide to cut funding into the PvE. That's what it sounds like to me, just because they don't feel like it's going to be profitable, even though they promise something. Then Diablo puts a pay-to-win game out, mobile addict game, which I have like a friend and his dad spends like $20,000 a month on it because he's like addicted and it makes too much money. And then with the World of Warcraft, I don't know. I just feel like it's been a constant disappointment. I mean, there's with the fucking all the systems that they implement. This apparently this expansion is better, but I'm just so bored with it. I'm so tired of it. Like what's left? Oh, Heroes of the Storm. They don't even support that game anymore because they decided it sucked. They don't even make new heroes, which is ridiculous. I liked Heroes of the Storm, and I would have been playing it still if they still had some support on it. They're just in like money burn mode. It's just what's the point anymore? Like, is it just a complete nostalgia ride? Hey, what's up, Linda? Is it just a complete nostalgia ride now? Like, what the fuck is it?
Also, firing range updates, I guess, whatever that means, player progression system, the Overwatch anniversary, and more. On to Season 7 and beyond. I believe Jared actually said the new tank hero would be Season 8, because there's always a break season between, so that's coming down the line.
Seasons?
There's a new collaboration event, a limited time mode. Is that Dragon Ball Z or another anime? Seems likely. New control map, new winter event, new hero mastery
months,
missions,
okay.
but these will be multiplayer in nature, which maybe some particular duos might
Wait, have they been doing skins for like other animes or something like Fortnite? That's interesting.
be able to do those. That sounds actually kind of interesting too. A Roadhog rework, fan favorite modes return. Oh boy, we get a Assault only playlist, guys. I mean, what else could it be for a fan favorite mode to return? Or do they mean the seasonal modes, such as the ones in the winter event? Unsure what they mean by that, but it would be very funny if the returning mode is one that they actually removed in the sequel, similar to Starwatch. Cinematic debuts, competitive mystery heroes will return, a lore codex, and a Sombra rework. Guys, that's everything for the upcoming roadmap for multiple months in a row. We know what the Overwatch 2 pipeline is going to look like. Are you disappointed that PvE is utterly revamped? Or
I mean, I think people are disappointed that this is another failed promise.
does this seem like a more
They have One Punch Man skins? Oh, that's cool, I guess.
approachable game that might be playable as opposed to a big letdown? Frankly, I wish that they would have emphasized more their recommitment to Blizzard polish. They weren't happy with the rate of development or where it was ending up, and we used to have the term Blizzard soon.
Didn't they have like a whole controversy where a bunch of people were like, hey, well, they used to, okay, so my understanding is that they were pumping out tons of content. Just, I think this might be World of Warcraft specific, but I don't think it is. I think it's like company specific. So my understanding from what I remember is that they actually got to a really smooth spot where they were pumping out content specifically with World of Warcraft. They were doing like a lot of like micro updates instead of waiting for big patches, and they were just overall delivering new like class reworks and stuff. Like they did a pretty significant rework on like the Druid and the Paladin and whatnot, even in the middle of the expansion, which is something that they usually don't do. They usually take a long time to respond. And then what they did is they said, everybody, you have to come back to work. Right? They switched over during COVID to like a lot of remote working. That took a while to adjust, but people adjusted and they started liking it a lot because like it's cool. You get to wake up and work from home. It makes it a lot more convenient and it's cheaper for everybody. And they were able to do like a lot of stuff really quickly. Then they said you all have to come back, and a lot of the top guys were like, well, we don't really want to come back into the office, so we're just gonna leave. So they lost like a lot of good talent, you know? Is that what's happened? Is that why they're not able to give us the PvE because they lost a lot of good talent? I wonder.
Because they used to take as long as they ever wanted to make the next thing. And if it wasn't working out, they would go back to the drawing board and do it again. This is like the best compromise that you probably could see for them to try to make something they're proud of, but isn't too big in scope and scale. This seems like the mark of the second big reset, because there was one big reset when Jeff left. They tried to go another direction, ran out of gas again, and then decided to shorten the scope of it. While everyone's melancholic about this, I think this is better than releasing something that doesn't shine with the Blizzard polish that...
Bro, this guy's such a fucking... He's such a company, man. Like that, I just don't assume that that's what their thing is. I think that they just don't care and they just want to maximize profit. Back in the day, if they made a decision like this, that they were changing the PvE, I would genuinely think it's because they wanted to provide a better product. But I think it's just all about the money. So
I want to expect from the games they make. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave it a like, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to actually get notified when our new videos come out. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.
There's speculation that this is why Jeff Kaplan left Overwatch. Left the company. I don't know. Maybe. I'm sure it was more than just one thing. Either way, okay, I guess fuck off to Overwatch 2. They're not gonna fall off completely as a company, but it's just more and more that just doesn't make them look particularly reputable. It's these decisions that continue to make people very skeptical about their shit.